spots that are close at hand. The open road is calling loud and clear. Miles of freedom stretching far and near. At the Offsiders Roadhouse we will stay, filling up before we ride away through the desert heat or city lights, trucking through Australian days and nights.
Hello YouTube, Brady back for another Australian trucking adventure. Brisbane V3. As the Offsiders would know, we've done 2 Brisbane trips now. Both of those have been from Sydney up to Brisbane. But in this little video, we're going from home, or we left Melbourne. Through this load on in Melbourne after getting back from the Adelaide oversized load. We picked up the pumps and electric motors. They're only about a 1 ton unit, so 7 ton all up, very light, very quick, very choice. But we got back to the border, had our 24-hour at home. Well, had about 20 at home. The other 4 hours was wasted doing other stuff, but we had that done, and then at about 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, we toddled off up the Olympic Highway through Wagga, the same old, the usual route north from home. Temora up to West Wyalong, and apologies to the viewer that lives in Temora that wanted me to show more of Temora, but it was dark by the time I was going through town, so there wasn't a lot to show, or film, but yeah, got onto the Newell and kept on trucking north. The original goal was Parks, but to stop in Parks would mean the following day would be a 10.5 hour day of driving to get to the port of Brisbane. So we kept on pushing north. I felt alright and ended up pulling in here at Tomingley. Now, those that have watched Jono or Ken, they've featured Tomingley a couple of times in their videos, so what you're seeing at the start is what you're going to get from me. It's interesting, last night pulled in about 8:30 on a Saturday night, and I was the only one here. I actually went in and asked the staff behind the counter if I was allowed to park here, because it's not really, we're at the pie face, it's not really a, there's no markings on the concrete, and when you come out of the gantries there behind me, which you're definitely not going to be able to see, it sort of just comes out to this bit wider concrete area and doesn't really have any, it's definitely not flat anyway. So, sorry, just wiping the sleep out of my eyes still. So yeah, but got in here, no one was here, there was no one across the road, there was no one over the other side of the road at the Caltex, and there was 2 or 3 trucks parked over in the big dirt pad on the other side of the road, on the southbound side, but it probably should spin you around so you can actually look at some road trains and not it all be single content. But then you got to wonder, oh, this big one across the road here, got 3 different coloured trailers hooked up to it. Interesting. But we got here anyway, which means we only got about a 9.5 hour 9:45 drive today, so we're not under the pump. I was slightly concerned when I signed off last night and the logbook was saying that I couldn't go again until 8:15 this morning, so nearly a 12-hour break. Not quite sure why it's done that, but if it means I'm going to get to Brisbane today and not run out of hours or run out of kilometres at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that'll be good, because our goal is to cross the city tonight at 6-7 o'clock on a Sunday night. How bad could it be? Get to the port, camp up there for the night, and then again tomorrow morning. There's no rush we can get into this joint at about 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. I do have a backload already, thank goodness, so that means I probably won't be stuck up there running around being a slave to the road train again. But anyway, the plus side is because today is just a day of driving and we've got a long time to go and a long place. No, I stuffed that up. I'm not even going to try. I might be able to stop and get the drone up. There is one location I'd love to stop at. I noticed on the way down the last couple of times, but that sun on that billboard is horrific. It's just right in the right spot. But anyway, as I said, we are at Pie Face. Not my favourite eating destination. We've had some bad luck recently. The Offsiders would have known, and you would have seen at the very end of the oversized video, I think, where I got the Jono's favourite, the wok in the box, and the wok bucket, and it wasn't favourable at all. I should have taken it back for 21 bucks, but Pie Face, obviously pies, they don't do toasted sandwiches. In hindsight, I should have just walked up the road to the BP that's 300 metres up the road, because as my old man says, it's the best feed on the Newell, best breakfast on the Newell anyway. So from experience, that much of the pie is going to be pastry, and there's going to be about that much at the bottom that's actual filling. But get rid of the hockey puck rim. That's the problem. They're probably a good quality pie when they're made. However they're made, I doubt they're handmade. There's too many spots that need them. But the act of taking a cooked pie or a baked pie and using a superheated microwave to nuke them hot is just not, it's not good for the product at all. So we've gone the curry, the curry pie there. Obviously just straight up mince, there's no steak chunks in it whatsoever. Good here curry on the plus, no sultanas. I don't know what freaks put sultanas in curry. I think it's got something, it might be a Dutch thing, but anyway, I'm going to finish this. We've still got half an hour before I can get on the road, so I'm going to do a little bit of tidying up in here. Try and pack some more stuff away. It's it's always a pain on a Monday, or the first day back in the truck. You've got bags of crap that you just need to tuck away in their own little spots, and normally by the time you go in and get the truck, you just want to get on the road. So I'll do that, and then we'll keep on heading northbound on the Newell Highway. At least the rain's gone. There's that plus. Bit of a tug test just to confirm the turntable's still locked. No shenanigans overnight. Great, we're going to be stuck behind him before the first overtaken lane. That didn't stay up. bigger truck combinations now. Another big pad up here on the right. Half a dozen trucks parked in there. Crossroads Hotel. So yeah, that's Tommingly. Let's keep going north. Gilgandra, population 3,126. We're come up through Dubbo. The bypass is slowly moving ahead. They reckon the M7 free lane it took a long time to do in Sydney. The bloody Dubbo bypass seems like it's been going on for 3 or 4 years, but it will get done eventually. We're going to stop in here and get some fuel, because I have fuel range anxiety, and I think this is our lane. Yeah, that South Australia trip, left Melbourne, went to Adelaide, come back to Melbourne, then come to home, and I put about 50 litres in each tank. So I put 1,000 litres in it, and there was about 50 litres left in each tank. I've still got to do the math on how much distance I travelled then. Normally I've got 14 litres on board. Normally try and keep the tanks above half full, just so you've got some options, but I was going to keep on going to Goondiwindi and get fuel there, but I thought, I know this spot, I know it worked last time I was here 2 weeks ago. Technically we could get to Brisbane, but I don't want to have to come back down south to Yatala if we're delayed loading or unloading. I kind of want to get the freight on and get back out of Brisbane, so at least there's options here, unlike Victoria where you've only got one fuel pod in Melbourne and then you've got home and that's it. So that's the Woodham's transport yard there. Last time we come in here, a long drop or a toilet here would be fantastic, but unfortunately not. There is a tap with running water that helps. Last time I was here, some pig dragged the fuel hose over his turntable and covered it in grease. So hopefully that's changed now, but yeah. Let's put a splash of fuel in the tanks and we'll keep on heading north. Alright, fueled up at Gilgandra. For those those with the D-Maxes or any twin cab diesels or even the wagon versions, or I suppose any diesels in particular, but or any diesels anyway, but just as the basic fuel figures with this light load, we put in, well, just short of 600 kilometres since our last fuel, since we left the yard. We put in 316 litres, just about, and the fuel figures for that, and I hope you're sitting down, 1.8 kilometres to the litre, which isn't too bad. I could probably drop it down to 95 and drop that figure down a little bit, but hey, we got somewhere to be. And yeah, if you're getting 7 litres to the 100, 8 litres to the 100, which I think most new diesels are doing anyway, they're pretty strung out in the fuel systems to get the best efficiency and less fuel used. Or even the bigger boys in the 79 series cruisers or 300 Land Cruisers towing something. That little stint, which isn't very hilly and we're not really heavy, was 53.49 litres to the 100. Oop, gonna beat you out the road, Mr. Caravan. So 53 litres to the 100. As a comparison, I suppose, the big black Volvo, the Bandit Express I used to drive for Bodmans, that used to average about 44 litres to the 100 over the span of a daily run. So I don't know if that's a tick or an X for the Detroit. It does use its fuel, and I suppose too, don't forget, this poor little thing's only strung out to 500 horsepower where the Volvo's nudging 700. Driver reviver there, I should have got a free coffee, but anyway, good little, nice little place, Gilgandra. Stayed here many a time. I go up to the old man's opal mine at Lighton Ridge. Check videos out on that on my other channel, Budget Adventure Show. But the Metro here, what's it at the moment? $1.70.5 for diesel, but that is still the cheapest place I've ever seen on the Hume for diesel, that Metro. Now obviously you can't get a truck in there, but when you're towing a van, or even if I'm just in the 4B, and now I've got the long range tank, I can pretty much get to there, refuel, get up to Lighton Ridge and back, refuel, and then get home again. So I'll try not to make a mistake here of missing our turn off, thinking we're going to Lighton Ridge. It would be good, but this rain all around would probably make it a bit hairy getting in there. We just got held up behind a road train tanker coming into town doing 90. Looks like we've got a couple in front of us that are probably going to be a hassle as well, so it's it might be all fun and good having multiple trailers, but I don't think the 90 km/h thing would I think the novelty would rub off pretty quick. It'd be like back when I was at Woolies at DC and Finnemore's come in and made all their trucks do 90. I didn't even hang around for it. I was out of there. We had a 404. Oh, what are you doing? We had a 404 SAR that had a big cat in it, and it was it kept on getting warning letters for the cameras and speed and that, so they wound it back to about 92. And just the distance between Albury-Wodonga and Canberra, you're losing 15 minutes on that trip by having that truck slowed up that much, and that's only a 300k trip. So add that out, 900 k's that you might do in a day. There's 45 minutes less driving time you're going to have at the end of the day by having that truck only doing 90 than if it was doing its 100, 102, 105, whatever you've got that thing set at. But anyway, that's Toowoomba. About, I think you might see a sign here in a minute. I think it's about 700-ish k's to Brisbane from here, maybe a little bit more, but times that for 2, at the very least we'll get back to here for fuel for the trip home. I am going to call in past the Woodham's pod at Goondawindi and just give it an eyeball and see what it's like, make sure it hasn't been vandalised, make sure I can get in there and get fuel and that. Oh, Brisbane 780, so 1600k round trip, that's going to be pushing it, so we might stop at Goondiwindi on the way home for fuel, but that's for a different day. That's for a different week. That's the week hasn't even started yet. Monday tomorrow, today being Sunday. Good, that road train got off at the Shell. I am front loading this trip with some brakes. We did have a 15-minute break there while we waited for the rain to stop before we got fuel. So get a couple of the 15-minute mandatory breaks out of the way straight up first, so then that way once we get up to some of this open country where there's 200-300 k's between towns, if I need to stop again for a break, I can do it at a town and not get stuck halfway between towns. But here comes the rain again. That's going to stuff up your view out the front window. Not as bad as the fog, but we'll shut her off here and keep trucking north to sunny Queensland. Wouldn't that shit you? Let's get ready to do a piece to camera and it starts raining, even though the sun's still half out. Oh, thank you, Brisbane, you just can't win. I'll have to continue this inside. Shoulder wear. Good morning, YouTube. Bugger that, I just wanted to get and do something different and not film inside the truck, to show I do get my ass out of the seat, and Mother Nature has a different idea. Oh, you won't be able to see that rainbow, I don't think. Oh yeah, you can. Coming out of the top of the Amazon building. Amazon, where all your dreams come true, or something. But anyway, enough of Amazon. Oh, we are at the port of Brisbane at a BP here. To quickly recap, we left Gilgandra, as you've seen yesterday. We headed up through Maree and the massive cotton and broadacre farming regions of northern New South Wales there, and then crossed the McIntyre River into Goondiwindi, and after a wrong turn discovered some farm art, Aussie art, I don't know what you'd call it, but plug this hole up. They had a big map of Australia, or the Australian insignia, crest, whatever you want to call it, crest of Australia. Big set of Easter Island heads, some cars on a pole, and what was the other one? Oh, a big dining table. That, of all of them, that big dining table, that would have been, there was some steel in that baby. But once we're done there, we start to head east towards the Big Smoke. And of course, if I finish chewing, we got to the top of the Toowoomba Range.
So, I don't know if you're aware of it, but there is a DA in place at the moment. You remember the old brickworks that sort of between Truckin and Erskine Park?
Yes.
There's a data centre going north side, so probably almost adjacent.
So here we are at the Toowoomba Range on our way down. Luckily, it is only at 90k speed limit posted for everyone, it seems. It is a downhill ascent, but you use your own judgment coming down. I'm guessing I've been sitting on 80 all the way down. The Jakes are holding me. We'll see if we get a swift talking to by these couple of big trains, but no signage to say trucks had to stick to a certain speed. It was just use a low gear, which I'm down 2 gears. And there's the end of the sign. So we're up it for the next hill, although it is still 90 k's here, so we better behave a little bit. Better behave a little bit more than that. That's better. Luckily it's the rule of averages and not a set point, but I was also surprised there's no parking bay at the top of the range. I thought there'd be a parking bay there. I was going to stop and get the eye in the sky out, but as you'll see, as soon as we come under the big bridge on top of the range and the sun disappeared behind these clouds, we lost darkness. We lost the light pretty quickly, and I don't think the drone would pick up a lot of light being underneath the bypass bridge, the range bridge. So he's got his fucking spotties on. So again, down this next section, sitting on about 70 k an hour. Drop it down a gear. Again, no signs to say trucks have to do a certain speed. Really, when you think about or look at other downhill descents, I think this is even less steep than Adelaide Hills, so yet there's no intersection around from the bottom. It's just motorway, and as soon as you get to the bottom you power in and get back up to your 100. Well, I suppose unlike most of the other descents, you are going to have, I'd assume, free trailer road trains. I think that stock crate back there was free trailers, so you're going to be well up over 100 tonne coming down here, and you're going to want to come down slowly, which luckily they're not tarring everyone with the same brush. I don't know why the car's slowing down for, but doing about 75. Oh, there you go, free trailer hole. B triple, I suppose you'd call it, having 2 A trails and a B. He's on his phone, so he's not paying attention. Come up to 80. Stay at 80 just because, again, the rule of averages, and we might have nudged over 90 there before. But that's essentially the Toowoomba Range. Mentioned to the Offsiders last video that that was 2 times now going up it, and I don't think there'd ever be a time coming down, but here we are coming down, so that's it for here. Need to make my mind up now if I want to cross Brisbane tonight or do it in the morning. Again, I've got no set time when I've got to be at this place to drop the stuff off, but the earlier I can get there, hopefully the earlier I can spin around, get reloaded, and get out of town and start heading south, and I will be going down the Pacific for the way home. It's just, that Gore Highway has just shook my brain to pieces. There's a horrible, horrible road. So we're going home via the Pacific, and that way we won't need to get fuel. We probably won't get fuel at all then, we'll just go straight home. But anyway, that's the Toowoomba Range done. I'll see you in Brisbane. And that brings us here. We got in about 7:30. 7:30? Yeah, about 7:30 last night. Threw a movie on. This little BP, I was hoping that it wasn't being used as a staging area for trucks operating out of the port. It looks like it is. When I got in at 7:30 on a Sunday night, there was I think you fit about 10 trucks in here. There was space left for about 2. So, of course, we'll get one that hasn't had the bites taken out of it. Ham, cheese, tomato, toasty for the win. Instead of that icky pie I got from Pie Face yesterday. I say it every time, never again, but we'll see what happens next trip. So, if I grab my phone out just to make more work for myself in the editing bay, 90%, 95% is all fridges parked here everywhere. Go to maps. Why I wanted to get to here is the BP we're at. So technically not really at the port, unfortunately. That's the airport there, so I can't even get the drone up. I wanted to go out and fly over that bloody inlet there. Linton Rocks Reach. But anyway, you'll see there, we're only got to duck back down the road, not too far. We're going into that that yard there to drop these frames and pumps off, so we've only got about 8 minutes. There was a line up of traffic out there, the lights will say 10 minutes down the road, and we're at our destination. And then somewhere there is a crane pickup that we've got to pick up. Yeah, I said it. Hopefully it's just 2 pieces of mast or 2 pieces of crane boom like we've been bringing down, and a couple of chains and send it south. So that is the plan. So without further ado, we'll get out of here. I'll finish my simmage, we'll get around there, get it off, and yeah, see how far across town we're going to get to get these crane pieces. I better check this again too, because after its last surface, it had its next run and it had no oil left in it again. But it seems to be not using it. I think there may be a little issue in the workshop with putting oil back in it after they've dropped it. No, that's fine. That's fine, that's good. Although, in typical Detroit fashion, even the new ones weep oil a bit and leak. Alright, Diesel Smurf, give me a good day. Probably going to be a little bit harder to get out of this servo. We are very close to a set of traffic lights. Although I say that, and it's all clear for now. That sound, it only does it when it's cold. Thought it was the fan belt being a bit loose, but they tightened it on the last service and it's still doing it, so don't know what's going on there. Oh yeah. Busy. Clear right, clear left. over the trees there in the distance. You can see all the lights glowing in the darkness last night when we come into town. I know no one's commented yet, especially in the last video, about the gear grindage. I'll spill the beans now. The auto clutch, the clutch brake in this thing is supposed to be an automatic one. They can't adjust it. It's just what it is. Where possible, you can go into first gear and get it to go in, then go into a gear later. But sometimes when you're a little flustered or seemingly in a hurry, you just want to go straight into the gear you want, whether it's second or third, and it'll grind a little bit. So that's what the go is there. Oh yeah, nice little view out to Brisbane, and rain on the city. Heavier rain up north. Clear blue sky to the south, so we're going to be chasing that blue sky once we finish here. The biggest problem with this little bit of moisture this morning, now all my straps are wet. So we're going to have to go to our waterproof gloves for that. That's going to be a red light. Timer on that, considering it's been off to port here and you're going to have trucks using it all the time. But Ferrari City. So after the absolute pounding the truck took, my head took, my body took, the cab took, we are going to head back down the Pacific today. I don't think it quite passes the pub test by making us go inland, just because of the tolls, paying the tolls through Sydney. It's an extra 100, say 100 k's to go inland each way, so there's an extra 200 k's. As we learnt yesterday, using just under $2 a litre, at $2 litres a kilometre in fuel, so there's 200 litres. 200 or 400 litres. So that's going to be more than the $100 or so in tolls that costs to go from one end of the city to the other. Plus there's an extra 2 hours, or those 200 k's of me driving, and just the wear and tear, the stuff falling off this truck because of that rough gore highway. I just don't understand why. Then you've only a single carriageway most of the way inland down the Newell, so if there's a prang, if there's any issue, if there's a caravan, you've got all sorts of issues. Yeah, rightio. We're a bit slow this morning, aren't we? Go orange. No, alright. I'll take that for a win. I didn't think the street would be so busy. 94. 120. 94, there it is there. Wagstaff piling. Right. Pull over here and let this single past us. There's no one behind him, and then we'll head on in. Oh no. D-Max. It's definitely a piling joint. They've got cranes here and everything. Well, that's going to end the filming for now until I work out what's going on. And yeah, it looks pretty tight out there. Crap. So, I've got to back in, not drive in. But at least it's nice wide gateway. There is someone back there somewhere, but I can't. See, when you're in a hurry.
In 900 meters, turn left onto Canberra Street.
Yep, right. So it's easy when you got nice big wide gateways and everything. Keep going until someone starts waving their hand saying stop. Alright, he was waving his hands, but it wasn't to stop. Well, some nice gear in here. I'll stop looking at excavators and start looking at where I'm backing to. Now, reversing long distances like this, obviously yes, you can clearly see I'm snaking left and right a little bit, but the way the mirrors are set up on your truck, when you look down your mirrors, the trailer is not pointed directly straight behind you. It's always off on a little bit of an angle one way or another, usually to the direction that your mirror side's on, like out the right now, the trailer's pointing to the right a little bit, out the left, it's pointing to the left a little bit, so going off your mirrors to see where your trailer's pointing isn't always the best idea for reversing. If you want to keep your truck straight, have a look a bit closer to the front of the trailer and where your mudguards or where your rear drive tyres are in relation to the coaming rail on the trailer. That's when I was backing up that oversized load last week. You had no idea which way the back of the trail was pointing. All I had to go off was where the tarp was showing the corners of the front headboard. I know if the headboard's sticking an inch out, or it's just visible either side the rear of the sleeper, I know the trail is dead straight. You start seeing a bit of your headboard come out one way or another, you know you're starting to turn. But again, that's just me. I'm sure there'll be 5 blokes that comment to say, oh no, I do this or I do that. And of course, once you start getting more than one trailer, that whole dynamic's going to change again. So you do you, that's just what I'm doing here. And there's no reason why you can't just snake it back a little bit. You don't have to back up in a dead straight line. You just keep chasing it. You start going one way, especially when it's wide like this. Yes, if you've got a narrow little alleyway where you do need to be dead straight, because you're not going to have the room to swing your nose left or right to correct. Yeah, but I'm going to get over to the right here, just because we got an opening on the left. That's where they'll probably unload it, or use the fork anyway, unless they use that big crane. But we're just about where we need to be. Hug this scaffold closely. We do need to have a bit of room to get around the truck, which now we're back too far, so I have to go forward here. I reckon there will just about do us. Now we'll get out there and get it off. Yeah, well, that's it for this job. I was I was completely wrong. We weren't getting into a situation there for a forklift unload. We were getting into a position for a crane unload. So something unexpected, something I wasn't expecting, and yeah, you got to see a crane, mobile crane, tracked crane. Anyone out there, you know, you'll comment. Correct term. Heavy lift crane anyway. So I wasn't looking when we backed in either for the classic inoperable section or the stuff the boss doesn't want to let go of section, but where we backed into, there was a couple of old crane bases and that there that have seen better days. And again, I think you'll find, much like most excavators, it is just the base crawler frame of the cabin, and they just have a bit of a different boom attaching on, obviously, and some heavier duty rams for standing those pile and rigs up vertically. But we haven't received our orders for the pickup yet, so we're going to duck back around to that BP and hopefully get a spot. There wasn't much traffic coming in or going out when we were there this morning and when we left, so fingers crossed we'll be able to get in there. Obviously, much like other places, BP Eastern Creek for example, there are trucks bobtail there left for the day. None of them trucks were there last night. They've come in this morning, they've done their night run and been parked up there as a yard, and someone will come back tonight and do it all again. But at least see it parked out away from the main truck bays. So that's going to be our next stop. Apparently there's two. This next place we've got to go to, they've got two locations in Brisbane, so I can't even try and do some Inspector Gadget work and Google the address and just head there. Let Mac come out. He's going to wait for us. He's going to wait for us, alright? That sun's going to be in the way on this shitty windscreen from the Spitz this morning, so we'll get back to the BP. It's funny also, you sort of think, look back over the last 20 minutes of the video I've had up so far. That's been over 20 hours. 3 o'clock Saturday Arvo. It's now 9:45 on a Monday morning. We've travelled from the bottom of Australia halfway up the east coast, and yeah, the run's still not done yet. But it just goes to show, like, videos can be hours and hours long. To be able to condense them down, Jono's just done one going across Australia again. 3,000 Ks in under 30 minutes. It's just way to do it. Otherwise, again, that could be a 3 or 4 hour plus video. Yeah. There's a park there. I think we're going to take it because there's no other. I don't think there's any other parking there. No. Right, there's no other parking, so we're going to take this one back here. squeezing here anyway, and try and get back far enough so we can not block the other trucks, which I think we're going to be able to do. So that's the edge of the gutter there, which should really be right about there, I reckon, until someone tells us to move, and we're clear of the gantries. So now we get to play the waiting game. And yes, the waiting game sucks, but I do not have hungry hippos. In the comments now, how long do you reckon I'm going to be waiting until I get the load? Bonus points for how many guess it probably correctly. What I'm going to pick up won't be for me to leave Brisbane with today, but it'll be to meet someone and have them connected as a road train, and they head south while I get to stay in Brisbane for another night. I do not want that to happen. Let's find out what happened. So the correct answer was 1 hour. 1 hour we waited, then we got a text message, do you have a tarp? When you get a text message asking if you've got a tarp, you know things are about to go sideways. So no longer picking up crane segments for Melbourne. We've ducked down around the bottom of Brisbane to Wakehole. I think it's Wakehole. Picking up steel that needs to be tarped. So I was told, but the paperwork here is for five sheets of plate. Now, the gears might be turning in your head. The gears have already started chipping off teeth and losing the ability to operate, because if it's 5 pieces of plate, we're once again going to have the issue of tarping a load that's only a couple inches off the top of the deck, top of the trailer. But it's plate. Like, you've got all these I-beams out here just in the rain. Oh yeah, I didn't mention too, we are in the wrong spot too. Their plate is in the shed across the road, so hopefully this driveway goes out into the straight into the driveway of the shed next door. Wait for old mate to go. Now K-Whopper. Steel step. Not the J steps, what would that be? It'll be a 104, 105. 104. I've done some miles that truck. So anyway, we're going to go across the road here. The road is played on. And yeah, then we're heading down to Sydney. We're not going back inland, luckily. Down to Sydney, so I'll probably get delivered tomorrow. By the time we get this done and get out of Brisbane Vegas and down through the Gold Coast, it's probably going to be late afternoon. Probably try and get down near Coffs Harbour somewhere. Anyway, that's the plan. I'll get back to yous a little bit further down the road. Well, that's taken about 2.5 hours to get on and strap down. It's still my Achilles heel with doing these tarps, is trying to get rid of all this flappy stuff, because you've only got the first eyelet there and up there. Go up to the next one up, but there's too much bottom there. It'll go below the combing rail, but she's pretty tight. The old hands are dead, even with the gloves. The arthritis in the fingers is set in, so yeah, again we're going to have the same problem at the back. This here's all going to flap and probably blow out before we get out to the freeway. But yeah, we're done anyway. Unfortunately, it's about 2:45 in the afternoon, and now we've got the freeway traffic. Luckily, it's only the Logan motorway, but that's probably going to get a lot busier when we get down to the Gold Coast. So we'll see how we go. I think BP Ballina is going to be my destination, goal, whatever you want to call it, for tonight. And yeah, we'll see how we go with that. But I'll have to have a look at a map and see what's further south. Plus I have to see how much hours I've got left when I leave here too. So anyway, that's going to do it for Brisbane. I'll come back when we find somewhere to pull over for the night. It's not going to be a late night, I can tell you. Meow. There is a fridge truck next to me. I didn't even notice that when I pulled in. Rightio, well, here we are, just south of Coffs Harbour. It only took about 1 kilometre on the Logan Highway before we come across traffic, and then we pretty much had it all the way out through the Gold Coast until we got down past Tweed Heads, and the traffic started to die off and it was good again. So we trucked south into the darkness. Unfortunately didn't get down to Maclean where the M1 truck spotter usually hangs out, so I'll check the Facebook page, but I didn't see him up there on the overpass. I doubt he would be taking night stuff, so maybe next time. We come through Coffs Harbour. Big Banana was yellow this time. The last couple of times I've been through there at night, it's been lit up blue, the light blue. But anyway, we're yeah, I was gonna camp at, I think it's Halfway Creek, but we kept on coming south. I thought at least here we're still 5 hours or 5.5 hours away from Sydney, and we'll get in there probably about lunchtime tomorrow. So we probably stop at Newcastle and put a splash of fuel in the tanks, and that'll get us to home. Well, we'll find out what happens when I load in Sydney tomorrow. Although I doubt I'll get loaded until Wednesday now. But just with how late, by the time I get this load off, roll the tarp up and ready to reload, it'll probably be too late in the day. But anyway, that's going to do it for this run and this video. Originally I was going to be going to Brisbane and going home and filming on the way home, but the plans change, so we won't keep on going with it. You've seen Brisbane, that was the goal. If you want a channel membership, I'll film what happens tomorrow for the members, unloading this and whatever the reload is and what that's going to be. So if you do want to see extra content, we just hit 100 videos for everyone to see, and 3,500 subscribers, which is fantastic. But there's another 100, there's probably another 150 videos that are up just for members in the members lounge. So yeah, if you do enjoy what I'm doing and want to see more of it, in this case a lot more of it, all the membership options in the join tab down near the like, subscribe and all that sort of thing. So yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for this trip. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.